Hello there, I hope you're doing well today. And today's video, we're going to be talking about how to be a good homeschool teacher. So whether you're a mom or dad or whoever you are homeschooling, you want to know how to be the best teacher you can be. And we'll be just talking about that in today's video. First, of course, we're going to need to talk about the skills, right? What are those skills that make a good teacher? Secondly, of course, we need to be talking about how do you go about setting up in a right environment, a really good learning environment for your children to really blossom. Third, why is a mindset so important? We've got to cover that topic for sure. Fourth, how do you grow and continually get better as a homeschool teacher? And lastly, of course, we want to look at a real-life example of a mom who became an excellent teacher as well. All right, so what are these skills that you need to have to be an effective teacher? First and foremost, it's this ability to communicate well and relate well with the children that you are teaching, right? Those relationships are so incredibly important. And that is a skill that can be learned. It's not just about your personality and loving kids and all that. Of course, when that's part of who you are and your nature, of course, it becomes a little bit easier. But there are definite skills that you want to learn on how to communicate better with children at any age and really build those relationships. Secondly, it's about planning out your lessons. There's understanding this idea of the learning styles. So your children visual, kinesthetic, auditory, mixing and matching, getting a variety of those things in, and then learning how to get them to think at higher levels, right? So the questions that you ask and you pose work on this hierarchy of ideas and learning so that you can build richness to the learning and depth to their thinking. And again, that's partly also dependent on the age. So those are three of the essential skills that you need to have: relationship building, understanding the thinking, the growth, the level that your child's at, and then planning out your lessons so that you can meet those goals. And oftentimes we talk about learning to think backwards. So what's the end objective that I have in mind? What are the knowledge, the skills? What do they have to do, show? So I know that they've got my objectives for this lesson or this unit, whatever that is, whichever you're planning out. And then working backwards, how am I going to go about getting them there? So those are really kind of the primary skills that you just need to work on as a teacher. So the second thing you really need to be able to do is build a positive learning environment. So one of the oft overlooked things is this idea of clutter, right? You can have a lot of peripheral vision stuff that can be really help supportive, things up on the walls and all that help support your learning. But generally speaking, the space needs to be decluttered. Right? When space around you is cluttered, it clutters up the mind. So that's first and foremost. Second is we really need to have a respectful environment, right? Where kids can feel safe about offering answers and knowing that if the answer isn't really quite on track, what you wanted, or is completely wrong, what have you, they don't feel like, oh, they're getting ridiculed or made fun of or any of that. And a lot of that is your ability to build relationships with the kids, but also the discipline and the environment, the culture of the classroom, right? And again, it's about relationships, but also having a very structured, disciplined system that is consistent and fair. And when that's in place, the whole learning atmosphere and environment is A+, top notch. Your mindset is going to be crucial in helping to set up that environment in the classroom, but also in your own creativity to help develop lessons and planning on how you're going to reach the children. Your ability to think creatively, to problem solve, to persist when, boy, they just don't seem to be getting this. What can I do? Some of those frustrations that happen, your mindset is going to help you overcome those obstacles. Your mindset is going to enable you to deal with your own emotions. It's going to enable you to solve the challenges that you come up in a daily teaching method. I don't care whether it's just your kids or whether it's your kids, it's the neighborhood kids, or whoever it is that makes up this classroom. Your mindset and your ability to manage emotions and solve problems around that is really what's going to help you create that learning environment and get those kids in that position for them to learn. And you are also then modeling that behavior that ultimately the students you're entrusted with will need to have and to see. So mindset drives everything. So you really need to make sure you are in charge and a master of your own mindset. So how do you grow and learn as a teacher? There's nothing like experience, right? Each day you're in there and you're in front of your children or other children, and you are going through these lessons, whether this is a self-learning kind of setup, much more teacher-directed setup, combination of both, whatever it is, the more you can take notes, watch and observe and process the end of each day, the more you get better. You read articles, read journals, ask other people homeschooling. When you have a homeschool co-op, that's even better because other people are going to be sharing that load of teaching with you. And through that process, that's how you grow. That's how you get better. It's no different than any other profession that there is, right? There's a learning curve. And the more active and proactive you are in pulling out the lessons that you had and needed to learn from those days and how you would apply that, the better you become. There's no question, towards the end of my career, I was a much better teacher than in the beginning. No question about it. The application of all those things I learned, the constant reflecting and going through, self-evaluations, that is ultimately how you end up growing and becoming better. Let me share the story of Maria. All right, Maria was a mom, and she and her husband decided that they really wanted to homeschool their kids. So she took those proactive steps to figure out what they needed to do, set up a homeschool, and she really began to work on becoming a good teacher by applying these things that we already talked about. She began to, as she's seen her kids learning their unique interests and their styles and designing lessons and structuring the environment. So there was a great deal of self-teaching in there with some guidance and structure that she provided for them, the discipline she provided for them. And then she looked for all kinds of ways to supplement what they were doing in the, quote, classroom and organizing field trips and other activities. She was constantly learning and reading and journaling. She had a journal she kept of the things that she tried that didn't seem to work, how else she could fix that, what other ideas might there be for teaching this concept or this idea. And she was constantly looking for ideas and trying out new ideas. And that's how, towards the end of her children's career, she actually became a teacher of other children as well in a homeschool co-op. Please, as always, consider subscribing to this channel. And there, we got tons of videos. These videos are based on questions that I get asked all the time or are being asked out there. And you can also find my podcast. But I would also love to have you, if you got anything out of this at all, like this video, make some comments. As I just said in this past video, comments help me. They help me get better. They help me try to really meet your needs as a viewer, answering the questions that you have and doing it well. So please consider commenting. And I hope I will see you in the next video.